think and the way you view the world internally will change everything outside. I'm just going to take this overall one topic for 3 books that I've read to start off this year. Now, although I have not been recording, I have been reading. So yeah, I'll just share with you everything I have. I took some notes so that this will be something that's really meaty and something that you can really take some information from, and hopefully to help change your life, make things better, help you grow. So the next book on the list was The 4 Agreements. Now, I don't know if you've heard of The 4 Agreements. It's a really good book. It's an older book, but there's so many good things of it to just kind of give you, I feel as though, like this, the 4 basics of life that'll help your life be so much more easier. And this book is to the point that I use these agreements, I feel as though, every day in different situations, when I am talking to other people or just being out in the world. So the overall topic for this particular video is going to be that the things that we think about and the things that we keep a running voice or running recording in our head has a lot to do with what we see on the outside. Now, the 4 Agreements doesn't necessarily touch on that in particular, but the 4 Agreements, the Atomic Habits, and You Are a Badass, those 3 books kind of have a basis of changing the way you think and the way you view the world internally will change everything outside. So the first agreement with the 4 Agreements is to be impeccable with your word. Now, of course, this has a lot to do with what you think and your thoughts and everything that you take in to become who you are and who you show up as in the world. And when you become impeccable with your word, you realize that you have to think even more before you speak. And in order to have that, you need to have a regular, healthy mental diet. And when you speak in integrity, when you speak words of life and health and wealth, it ultimately shows up in your life. The book mentioned something that I thought was really interesting the first time I read it, and he says, Miguel Ruiz is the author. He says, spelling, it's called spelling because you are casting spells as you talk. And I thought that was so interesting. And it's like the deepest things are in plain sight, right? Like that's something that's really simple that probably would have missed. I don't know if you've ever thought about it in that way, but I really never thought about it in that way until I read this book. So it made me think more about the things I say, the things I think about, because it's so important. Just little small things that we do every day to say, even to ourselves, like the running dialogue, or thinking to yourself that you're overweight, or thinking to yourselves that, or say you're so crazy, and I'm sorry, I'm always doing that, or I'm so clumsy. Just those little small things, it allows these manifestations to go out into the world, and they continue to happen, they continue to show up. It's like when you say and think about things, it's like the world has to validate the things that you say. And that's how powerful our word is. And when we say things, negative things towards ourselves, then that of course causes those things to show up, because they have to show up because you spoke it. Isn't that crazy? The second rule is to don't take anything personal. And I'm gonna be honest, when I really got this rule down, not to take anything, it made my life so much more easier. Just for instance, just something very small, like I consciously try to show up in the world as a nice, kind person. And I know, depending on where I'm at, I'm probably in my head, so I may not always be that way, but at my core, like, I am a nice, genuine person. And when I go to the gym, typically I honestly recently started going to a new gym. And at my previous gyms, I was just used to the people up front just being so friendly and bubbly, and just, you know, you walk in, they're like, oh, hey, have a good workout, blah, blah, blah. And I started going to this new gym, and I got there, and this girl was there, a young girl, and like, I wanted to ask her, like, you know, kind of, can she kind of point to different things in the gym so I kind of know where I'm going. And she was just really dry, and that was the first time. And then even the second time I came in, you know, just like, hey, you know, she was kind of the same way, and I was kind of like, that's weird, you know, like, I'm used to the people up front, the desk just be, hey, have a good workout, just really nice, and just at least initially nice. So I decided not to take it personal. At first I was just like, that's weird, but then I was just like, hey, at the end of the day, maybe she had a bad day, maybe I remind her of someone that cussed her, I don't know. But at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with me, because I know how I show up is ultimately I have the intentions of being a nice person. Now, I'm gonna be honest, when I start working out, that's a whole nother story. I'm in my zone. I typically have my hat on, my headphones in, and I honestly don't want to interact with anybody unless I'm saying, are you using this machine? But anyways, now when I go into the gym now, she's like, oh, hey, have a good workout. Like, she's a totally different person. Now, imagine that going a different way. If I would have took it as, oh, it's me, she doesn't like me, there's something wrong with me, then that would have ultimately caused me to act a certain type of way, which would have ultimately having me act a different way and pretty much switched it on her, and she would have been probably wondering, okay, why she's always so rude to me? If I say something to her, she doesn't respond back. So when we go out with intentions, no matter what anybody does or say to us, and don't take it personal, like it is your problem and your fault, it makes our lives and other people's lives so much differently, and even the outcomes are different. So keep that in mind. Next time someone cuts you off, the next time someone is rude to you, don't take it personal. Honestly, what I've learned is that as humans, we are so complex, and there's so many layers, and there's so many different things and culture differences that I think we don't necessarily understand. And when we take things personal, it honestly, it causes our lives to be more chaotic, because 9 times out of 10 people are not thinking about us. Like, I realize that even when I'm out and about, it's like my mind is 90% on me. I'm worried about what I have to do. I have a list going in my head. I'm thinking about being more conscious. I'm thinking about being more positive, and everything is to do with me. Or I'm running something through my head about what happened yesterday, or whatever it may be. But 9 times out of 10, it's about me. Everyone's world is typically like that, and if you get that in your head, honestly, that will change a lot of things. Even for me, it even changed like how I walk into the room, because at the end of the day, this is my world. So when it's my world, everyone else is just supporting characters that honestly I have to even allow to sign up to play in the movie. And if I don't allow them to, which means their dialogue, how they feel about me, or whatever, if I don't allow them to step into my movie, it doesn't really matter. So don't take anything personal, and to be impeccable with your word. Okay, so number 3 is to don't make assumptions. And I love this one because I feel as though when we make assumptions about things, that can make our lives so much harder. Just because there's so many things that are usually at play, especially with people and different things. And when we make assumptions about what's going on or what someone's thinking, it honestly, I feel like it causes us more pain. So figure out the questions that you need to have answered. If you have, any doubt or anything about anything, just ask questions. It's better to be clear and to have clarity on a situation than to be in your head about what's going on. Now, mind you, this was one that I still work on today. Like, I had this whole deal with a friend, and I'm a big actions person. I think that's what allows me to make assumptions because I feel as though people will say anything, but their actions show what they really are thinking deep down inside. And I feel as though for me, I've become that person to watch what people do and not what they say. Because I know me, I know how I move. I know how I react, and honestly, I feel as though that is humans in general. And I think for me, I am one of those people that I can read in between the lines with as far as with your actions, and then I will move accordingly. But I have been trying to learn to ask questions, to be more clear about a situation, because sometimes it really is a misunderstanding. Sometimes it really isn't what you think it is. But don't make assumptions. It'll make your life a lot easier. And the fourth rule, in which I feel as though is the easiest, and one of the ones that I feel that we can all start now, it really takes no work, it's to always do your best. And me being someone who has the drive and I have the mindset and I want to do a lot of different things. Sometimes I can agree, I don't always get up and do my best. I'm not always 100%, and that takes discipline. And I was listening to something the other day, and it says that every time you show up for yourself, every time you get up, when you say you're going to get up at 5 a.m. to work out, or at 6 a.m. to work out, or whenever it is, anytime you make a schedule, anytime that you say I'm not going to eat those extra calories or whatever it is, I'm talking about weight because I've been working out and eating. But those are my examples. But whatever that may be, whether it is, when you're dating, to not talk to the person that act like they don't like you, whatever that may be. When you do what you say you're going to do to yourself, that builds confidence in yourself, which builds the discipline, which makes it easier to always do your best. So those are some of the things that I've definitely been working on. And like I said, the 4 agreements is something that you can probably check off your list from doing every day. Making sure that you speak well and be kind to yourself, and that goes for inside and outside, and people that are around you. Plant seeds of kindness and love and good things into people in your life and you, because whatever you do to others, you do unto yourself. Be impeccable with your word. Make sure that you are saying only good things. The second one is don't take anything personal. That's a really big one. Make sure you don't take anything personal. Make sure you don't take anyone's own livelihood and everything, the narrative that they have going in their head, just about them personally, because 9 times out of 10 it has nothing to do with you. The fourth one is to don't make assumptions, don't assume things, always have clarity on a situation. It makes everyone's lives easier, and it honestly helps us to be better people. Because now, if I'm not taking the things that you are doing, thinking that it is because of me, then it allows me to stay in my peace, stay in my serenity, because I'm not always feeling like you're projected on me. And always do your best. Always show up 100%. Honestly, it starts with yourself. Because at the end of the day, we are the most important person. We are the main characters of our lives. And when we get that in our head and we put love, our self first, 9 times out of 10, it'll make our lives easier.